What is up? Welcome to Pistons Talk. You guys already know me, Anthony. Been covering the Detroit Pistons for the last 5 years as a diehard fan just like you guys. In today's video, what we'll be discussing, we have some Malik Beasley updates. This happened this morning. The Detroit News had written an article over there if you guys want to check it out, but I'll read you guys the tweet that they put out this morning. It says, breaking, a lawyer for Malik Beasley said Wednesday the former Detroit Pistons guard has paid $38,000 in delinquent rent and moved back into his apartment after being evicted from the downtown high-rise building. Now, this is pretty big news because about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, we got an article from the Detroit News as well saying that Malik had not paid his rent. Now, I just want to say this first and foremost. The reason why I'm discussing this today is because he paid his rent and he moved back into the city of Detroit. Now, what does that mean for, one, the Detroit Pistons, and two, Malik Beasley? We'll get into that in today's video. But this is pretty big news that he's moved back into his high-rise apartment in the city of Detroit, and he did pay off $38,000 worth of rent payments. Now, I believe a month ago he was around $20,000 behind. So this is really big news, and I'm really happy that he is getting his debt in order. And you know, the Detroit Pistons beat writer for the Detroit News, Cody Davis, had tweeted out Malik Beasley back in Detroit after eviction as the ex-Piston star works to repair finances via Robert Snell, who did write this article over at the Detroit News. Cody just kind of giving, his 2 cents on the matter. And I think it's actually really huge because he did say something in his tweet saying he's working to repair his finances. Now, if you've been following the Malik Beasley news, you've been following the gambling allegations for prop bets that Shams Charania had said a day before free agency started, Pistons were willing to give him the full mid-level, had the pivot with Karras and Duncan Robinson. It's been a really crazy offseason for the Detroit Pistons front office. Now, obviously, the Pistons still do have one available roster spot. And I did say at the top of the video, what does this mean for the Detroit Pistons? What does this mean for Malik Beasley? Now, a few days ago, last week, we got a report, and I'm just citing Hoops Hype because I don't pay for Mark Stein's Substack. Hoops Hype just took the most important parts of Mark Stein's article because I do that with all paid articles. If you guys don't feel like paying for articles, 99.9% of the time, Hoops Hype will take probably the most important part and put it in here. But I'm going to go over two posts in here. So it says the Cavs, Pistons, Timberwolves, and Knicks are interested in Malik Beasley. League sources say that 4 primary teams have been in contact with the sharpshooter representation in hopes that Malik Beasley can eventually be signed. Cleveland, New York, Minnesota, and the Pistons. Okay, so those are the 4 teams that have been in contact with Malik Beasley's representation, meaning his agent. Now, if we scroll down with this same article that was written on the 28th, it says sources say Beasley will ultimately be seeking a deal north of a veteran's minimum and would figure to command that if the 28-year-old can indeed play with no off-court obstacles after he shot a 41.6% from deep last season on high volume from Mark Stein. Okay, so what Mark is reporting, what he did report on the 28th of August, which was a few days ago, is that you have 4 teams that have been in contact with Malik Beasley's representation. The Cavs, the Pistons, Timberwolves, and Knicks. Okay, now if you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, they have a lot of injuries right now. Max Strus just got injured. Darius Garland's going to be out for a little bit. They have around a veteran's minimum. Mark Stein had reported that Beasley is looking for a little bit more than a vet's minimum, so you could probably cross the Cavs off the list. One of his former teams, the Minnesota Timberwolves, they're kind of in the same situation. They are in the same boat. They are a team that is very expensive. They decided to not only bring back Julius Randle, but also Naz Reid. You have Anthony Edwards and a bigger deal. Rudy Gobert on that huge deal. Jade McDaniels. So that's another team that is looking for a sharpshooter like a Malik Beasley on a vet's minimum. You could probably cross the Minnesota Timberwolves off the list. You also have the New York Knicks. The Knicks are a very expensive team as well. They're a team that you look at their stars from Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges just got extended, Jalen Brunson. They are a very expensive team as well, and they could probably only offer a veteran minimum contract. And the report from Mark Stein says right here, ultimately Beasley would be seeking a deal north of a veteran's minimum. So if you look at the Detroit Pistons, now this is where it's kind of cool in the salary cap. If you guys are kind of nerds like me and you dive into, the type of contracts these organizations can give, the Pistons out of these four teams can actually offer the most. And how they can do that is the Pistons have Malik Beasley's non-bird rights. Now, what does that mean? The Pistons can use their non-bird rights to re-sign Malik Beasley to a $7.2 million contract. Now, $7.2 million, one, is more than a veteran minimum contract. So that's probably the most important thing, right? It's more than what the Cavs, the Timberwolves, the Knicks can offer Malik Beasley, and the report is he's looking to get paid more than a veteran minimums contract. That's number one. Number two, Malik Beasley has been very vocal this offseason on his Snapchat that he has been in contact with other teams outside the Detroit Pistons, but he does want to come back to Detroit if Trajan Langdon and the Pistons front office want to bring him back. I think it is a very good sign that the Pistons have stayed in contact with Malik Beasley, and I think a big reason why it is pretty huge is we got a report about a month ago that the Pistons were holding their last roster spot open just in case this off-the-court stuff kind of went off the window and Malik Beasley was free of all the charges that he was being charged for. And they can offer him that $7 million price point. Obviously, it is a slight increase in pay from his last contract he signed with the Pistons, which was a one-year, $6 million deal. He could sign a one-year, $7.2 million deal to stay with the Pistons. But there are other teams that do have cap space available. The Brooklyn Nets are one of them. They have $15 million in cap. And then there are some other teams that do have non-taxpayer mid-level exceptions at their disposal, but none of these teams have been in contact as of right now that we know of with Malik Beasley. There are teams that have the full $14.1 million mid-level exception that they just haven't used yet. Don't know if they will, but I think this is a very good sign for one that we got a report today that he has paid off his debt that he did owe to the high-rise apartment that he does stay in Detroit in. Two, I think what's really important for Malik is, paying off your debts, your off-the-court debts that everyone has kind of been talking about in the media is good because you can kind of just sweep that as a distraction when the regular season does come about. But I did want to update you guys on this news with Malik. I feel like there's just been so much things that we've talked about this offseason. Now, obviously, I think some people don't like how public this is, and I understand it. I tried to have this conversation just strictly basketball, went over the teams that were interested in Malik and, why I feel the Detroit Pistons probably have the best shot to sign him. As of right now, the teams that are interested in him. And to be honest with you guys, if we're just talking about adding, that last roster spot, Malik on this team, I think would be huge for the Pistons not only just for the type of player he is, but having the luxury of having a high volume 3-point shooter that Cade Cunningham looked for quite often last year, especially when Jaden Ivey went down with injury. You can look at some of those box scores. Malik Beasley was their second leading scorer behind Cade Cunningham on most nights. He has a franchise record with the Pistons, made over 300 three-pointers this year. And not only that, I mean, if you kind of just look, I mean, you have a Duncan Robinson. You could have a Malik Beasley if he does decide to sign here, and a Karis LeVert. Like, I think that's really huge for the Detroit Pistons, and you could have two sharpshooters in Duncan Robinson and Malik off your bench. They could close some games for you, but wanted to update you guys on the latest with what is happening with Malik, the latest with the teams that have been in contact with him as of right now. We're recording this video on September 3rd, but let me know down below in the comment section what you guys think of the latest news surrounding Malik Beasley. I'll talk to you guys down there. Like always, hope you guys are staying safe. Take care. Catch you guys in the next video. Peace.